Do you want to make passive income with your drone? That is, fly, take some pictures and videos, and then sit back and make money off of those without doing any additional work. In today's video, I'm going to show you a tool that I've been working on for the last 6 months that does just that. I'm actually so confident that it's going to be effective that I'm not even going to charge up front for it. But I structured it so you earn money first and then the platform takes a small percentage. The best part is that for every piece of content that you upload, it directly links back to your profile. So then people that like your content can directly contact you if they would like to hire you as well. This is effectively a stock media platform, but it's exclusively built for drones. Every piece of content is specifically targeted for a location rather than just some generic search term. It means that it can't be AI automated, and it means that every piece of content that you upload is a potential lead that brings clients straight to you. Very likely, if you're a drone pilot, you have a collection like myself of stuff that you've taken over the last couple of years. You can upload that, or by default, the site also tells you what places in your area are good ideas for you to fly. So you can capture what is very popular in your area that has the highest likelihood of getting you sales. So I have a couple bits of media that I'm going to upload. I also have some other things that I want to take some pictures of in a video, and then we're going to jump over to the website and I'm going to explain to you that process of what that looks like. So first up, you want to head over to DroneInvoice.com. This is basically a platform that allows you to take your current jobs as well as upload your content to get new ones. You're going to want to make an account. So first up, you can come down here and you can click on load this map. This will then show you all the places in your area that are really high quality in terms of popularity. It bases it off of the Google reviews. So basically big areas or public places that are very popular that a lot of people might want pictures of. This lets you kind of target the things that real estate agents would be looking for. So for example, if you had a house here, you might want to cover some of the parks nearby, etc. And that's a really common place. Also, downtowns of cities tend to be really good. So it's also something to pick out. Another thing to keep in mind too is your invoices have view counters on them. So you can see how much you've made from them and also how much views they're getting. So that helps you better judge and gauge what does well. So specifically my thing of downtown Cary, as you can see, is getting a lot of views. And then for each item you can click on it and see what's actually getting views. So you can see like what's the view ratio and if you get sales, etc. You can also see where the pictures are, and then you can of course view the final album. So invoices are essentially just like your standard album, and they allow you to go through and see a watermarked preview for anything that you upload. That includes videos, by the way. So if you just want to show off your videos, everyone can browse that on here. To make an invoice, it's pretty simple. You just click create invoice, and then you upload your pictures. You have the options to upload pictures, videos, and maybe if you're one of the more advanced drone users, you might have maps, models, point clouds, or something else a little bit more complicated. So we can drag over the pictures here and let's get started. So now that everything's uploaded, we can go through and click through and see what we have. As you can see, I took a bunch of pictures of my downtown city here, and you can individually view them in full quality here. So this is basically what people are going to see now. As you can see, we can click through. Every item sometimes might not have location. Some items do, so some drones will include this, and it will pick stuff that's downtown. So we can basically go through here and see what is specifically in front of each of the pictures. So I'm going to go through and now select stuff that doesn't have any location information, so we make sure we put some on there. Again, this whole platform is categorized, the location stuff, so we want to make sure that we include a location so people can find our content. So this is downtown Apex. And then I think we can do downtown, and I'm going to do Salem Street. So North Salem Street. And then that's saved. And then once that's saved, it will update. Next up, we can go over the match. So for example, maybe you are not doing this just for stock media. Maybe instead you did some work for a client and you did a proposal, which is basically a plan of work. So you planned out what you're going to do. This just allows you to basically drag and drop those so you can match it to what you want. So now we're on the invoice tab, and here we're going to just set a title. So this is Downtown Apex, and basically this is kind of like an album, and I just include a short little description For one, you have the ability to add a license. So say, for example, you want to restrict this to a certain kind. The general consensus, though, is just the extended commercial is pretty average and normal for a lot of the work that I end up doing. The invoice behavior gives you a lot of different options. So for example, say instead that you did work for a client, but you wanted to take some of that work and advertise it afterwards and have it make more money for you. So for example, downtown is a very popular spot in my city, and I might get a lot of other people that would be very interested in buying that same footage. With this setting, I can basically set up my standard line items. So for example, travel expenses, and we might add another one, maybe something like, hours of time, and a rate of maybe $50 per hour, and maybe 2.5 hours. And basically that way the client at first will go through and pay. So he'll pay the $225. And then after that, after he pays, it automatically becomes public, and then it can be advertised and licensed immediately. So obviously you wouldn't want to make it public first. So the client wouldn't pay the full price. Obviously he'd probably pay the $150, but after you make the invoice and he pays, then it becomes public and you don't have to do anything else. Now also, for example, maybe you didn't want to advertise the public stuff, or maybe there was something that you didn't want to advertise, I don't know, like a specific house. You could individually exclude that, and that way it doesn't show up in the public version, but it does show up for the client. So that way you can pick and choose what you want to show up. And that works really well. But for the main part, we kind of just really want to ignore most of these, and we want to come down here. So we want to make sure that it's advertisable now. And then we want to allow, depending on your preferences, the public pricing is kind of the stock media settings. So by default, it will pick stuff that is $20 for each item, which is about normal what you'd expect. Then you'd set a bundle price, which is $150. And then at the end of that, you can click here, and then you can see kind of the content there. So each of these items you can open up, and they are automatically watermarked for you so that they are not going to get copied that easily. Even the videos themselves, as you can see, we have some wonderful little video at nighttime, as well as the pictures and videos in the daytime. And so that concludes it. And then of course, again, everything links back to your profile, and people can go ahead and buy the unwatermarked version here. Also, you can go through and edit your profile. So basically when people click on view my portfolio, so maybe they see your content, or maybe they see one of the individual items here, you want to make sure they have a pretty portfolio they can view to see all your prior work. Also, these badges show the people that get the most views on DroneInvoice. So it's a good idea that you upload content so you can have a pretty badge and stand out. So you can edit your profile, or we can view the portfolio. And as you can see, the portfolio is here. This you can actually go through and customize, and I might make a full video showing this off. But for each of these content items, you can basically go through and drag a prior invoice that you've uploaded. So let's see, I like this one. And then of course for your individual deliverables, you can go through and drag some down here. So we go through, we drag that, and then we can of course select from what we've done before, and then it will show you some options as well, and I like that one. So that's how you basically customize your layout, and then of course you have everything that you've ever uploaded, and then all the media that you've uploaded. And that way, at the end, you have this pretty portfolio, and then you also have a bunch of content that basically advertises you. And each of these pieces of content show up when people search for those locations, which basically just advertises you. So the more content that you upload, the more stuff that you get advertised. Also, I don't know if I mentioned this or not, but normally, I have some paid tiers, but if you do not use the paid tiers, you get 50 gigabytes of free storage a month. So that is a lot of storage to upload your best stuff. I've uploaded everything I pretty much have, and I'm at 87 gigabytes. So there is a lot of stuff that you can upload. And I have a pretty massive collection. You can put your best content easily under the 50 gigabyte limit. So, also there is the option to get more storage, but I'm basically just selling that at cost because my main priority is to get you guys making money with your drone, and that's my goal. Also, there's this pretty analytics tab, so you can track what's getting you the most views. So you can see what of the uploads that you've done is getting you the most views. I have the example DroneInvoice, so of course that views are going to be skewed, but for each item you can see what's getting you the most views, so you can replicate it or figure out what's working and what's not. I hope this actually boosts your drone business and actually gets you guys the recognition that you deserve. So Feel free to sign up. I'll include a link in the description, and I look forward to seeing your content here.